Well, hi everybody. This is Rob Decker. I am here with Brian Jesperson as always. Brian, say howdy everybody.
How's everybody doing in the rug world?
I hope it's been a good week, couple of weeks for everybody. Actually, we did not do a show last week. We are getting it together. We'll just put it that way. We're working on it, making sure that we get a good quality show and a lot of content for you guys. So I want to share first and foremost a some pictures that I got off of Facebook here. So here. Okay, this way. Okay, so we need to clean this area rug. It's Moroccan wool. There are no stains. It's just really dusty, and the fringe needs work. Is one squirt of trash green to 1 gallon of water fine to mist on top and rinse at 300 psi with an acid rinse and then speed dry. And to work on the fringes, he'll do by hand with an upholstery tool, use a cotton shampoo and scrub with a toothbrush, then next day rinse and spray on peroxide, let it dry to whiten.
Hmm.
So here's the rug, and there doesn't look like there's a problem with where the dyes are. I don't see any dye migration in any of these
Yep.
pictures that he sent.
Yep.
And so, but Brian, these fibers have been fried, right? Right. I mean, to the point, sometimes where they're barely hanging on when they've done these kind of washes with these.
Yeah. 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 The fibers look really good. The colors look really good. They're all held really nice. So
Yeah, so we want to say that and you can tell that the whole thing's been, this isn't traffic because even on to the right side there, you can see that these fibers are fanning out, so they've been pushed to a high level of oxidation or reduction. So we want to have an ORP meter handy to help us understand what's been done to this rug, what's going to bring it back into balance, that kind of thing. So, but these are the fringe as well, and so looking at these pictures, I want to go back and talk about what this guy was talking about. Now, of course, this came to me from truck mount forums, and what if you have a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So if you've got a truck mount, well, I can do my truck mount will do something on this thing, you know what I mean? And so we want to go back to that and just kind of talk about what what's going on here. He says it's Moroccan wool, no stains, just really dusty. So he starts talking about it's really dusty. Can I put this product on it? So I say, whoa, let's talk about dusting this rug. What can you do? Do you have a really good vacuum cleaner? Do you have a space where you can put it on a tarp and lay it upside down and go from the back? Like, if this is really dusty, let's dust it and let's figure out a way to dust those fringe. So we want to stop there as a good as good rug cleaners. I don't want to say anything bad about Michael here. Him and I talked about this, and but dusting is such an important part of the process that you can't just say, well, it's dusty, can I put this on it? You've got to go through that process of getting that dust out. And with that kind of fringe, with those cotton or with those braided fringe like that, wow. Those are not easy to dust, are they, Brian?
no, no, but you got to think about like a Moroccan rug. The pile is what, about an inch, could be 2 inches thick in between there, and there's a lot of dirt that's trapped inside there. So when people say they're going to just try to topically clean a rug like that, I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls to that. Number one is the color, because you're not just getting the color that's actually right there on the surface. You have all the colors down into the knots, twisted and tied, and then you you got so much. You have to dust that thing really super good, because the point of evaporation most likely is going to be the top of the rug. I mean, I guess you could put that rug upside down if you were a carpet cleaner. If I was thinking about it like that, maybe you want to try dry it upside down. Maybe because the point of evaporation would be to the back, but I still think that there's a good chance that you're going to have kind of a rusty type haze across the whole rug, because that's dirt. I mean, that's just my thought with this. Uh,
Yeah, you've got to flush this thing. If it's dusty, if it's physically looks dusty and feels dusty, we know that wool hides soil very, very well. So once it looks dirty, it's absolutely filthy. And so we need to dust properly, and then we need to rinse this thing, and we just want to move what water will move, because it's not the best cleaning agent there is, but water does a good job. And so, and not only that, I wouldn't, even if the customer told me they never put carpet cleaning, Febreze or what, not Febreze, Resolve and all that stuff. We never use that on our rug. I don't believe you. I'm gonna rinse out, and if I see a bunch of suds, I know that I don't want those suds chemically reacting what I'm gonna do to this rug to try to get this thing clean. So rinsing, even if it's not urine involved, and we're not talking about flushing the toilet, just flushing the rug, I believe, is a very, very good way to start. The only, really the only exception is with viscose, you want to put 2 ounces per gallon of the rayon rug shampoo in it so that you get the charges correct. You get the positive charge of a cationic. And that's going to help it dry better and not have to groom it every 5 minutes for hours, while it dries. So, and I'm sure you use that trick all the time, Brian. That
yeah,
just is one of those things you learn when you've been around Paul.
yeah, it's man, a Moroccan rug being a carpet cleaner messing with it is kind of like sticking your hand into a fire. I mean, to me, it's one of those rugs that maybe you might not want to mess with, because the the wool. I mean, it's drank up so much of the actual color, and now you have the excess color on the outside, like makeup. And once you start getting that thing wet, I mean, it can migrate like crazy.
Yeah.
So it it makes me think to myself like, man, there's so many other rugs to mess with. Why mess with the Cobra, right? I mean, it's I I get it. Everybody wants to earn some money, and they're trying to figure out the best way. But sometimes, with the tooling that you might have, you may not actually get a great result. Um, Maybe you're basically just surface cleaning, just with the most lightest amount of water as possible, and
Yeah.
all you're doing is just knocking the edge off it. That's all you're doing, right? So it just to me it would scare me to death. I mean, honestly. And then I see on here he says he wants to do something with the fringes, spread a little hydrogen peroxide on the fringes to whiten it. Man, to me, there's just so many things that's like not a good idea to do, because those braids on a Moroccan rug always come undone all the time. And we're as careful as all can be. But I mean, you got to take those braids, and you're going to, like, even in the wash pit, we lay them down, and then we're going to take a towel or take a mallet after we already applied like some LST or whatever on it, and we're going to hamper that. So we're loosening all that up, and then we're going to clean that off. We're going to rinse
Yeah.
it off, power wash or whatever it might be. But you got to be careful, because the braids are probably going to come undone, and then you better know how to braid. Uh, and then, who knows? You might be doing 10 or 15 or 20 of them. It just depends on how rough that you are. And you don't necessarily want to, you don't want to spray hydrogen peroxide on these braids, because you're deteriorating that cotton, and you want that thing to be braided and held really good. The best thing to do is actually just wash it and then lightly power wash it, and then allow that to dry instead of just going the hydrogen peroxide route, because you're just gonna make everything brittle. Yeah, it's gonna look white, but I'm telling you, 6 months from now, especially if they have somebody who has a vacuum cleaner and they're going across and they actually grab it, they might just shred that whole entire deal.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is that you need to be able to test with an ORP meter to be able to know, did they push this really far oxidation, which is going to be, 800, 900 millivolts on your meter, or did they reduce the life out of it and you're going to get 200, 150, you know what I mean, on your meter. So and I have a video from a good friend of ours that talks exactly about this, and so I'm gonna see. Oh, it says I've got to. Let's see. Maybe I can. Maybe I can get out of this. But anyway, yeah, on this one that's here, it just.
Well, it's a super cool rug. I mean, press the wrong.
I guess trying to get out of it on one just stopped everything. So
Hmm.
but anyway, I want to share a video that I have here, if I can. Yeah, here we go. There we go. And this. So now I'm screen sharing and I want to pick up a video. Let's see right here and right here. All right. And then this, here we go.
Strengthen that fiber a little bit, or was it not?
Well, Brian, that's a Moroccan rug, right?
Yeah.
They tend to chemically wash those aggressively. So if you have an ORP meter and you take a reading, you're probably going to get a very high number, like 800, 850, somewhere in there, which means that it's been way over oxidized, and you can probably bring it back to five, 600, 500 with some reduction, and that'll probably help a great deal. And but I don't know that. I mean, they may have stripped it, and it's the opposite way. So I don't know that either. Now, what you're saying, I don't want to say what you're saying is wrong and not a good idea. What LST is going to do is fix the pH. And a lot of rugs have been cleaned with detergent over the years, or carpet cleaning chemicals, and they tend to be alkaline. And wool likes to be at 5.5. So when you wash a rug with LST, it corrects the pH. And that's why they seem to improve and be stronger, because you're taking them from the wrong side of town, the wrong side of the railroad tracks, alkalinity, and you're bringing them to where they're happy again. Because, wool's made out of amino acids. And so amino acids want to be acid. And when you force them to be alkaline, then they don't behave well. They're brittle, they're stiff, they're dull. So LST does repair it when it is a alkaline issue. But I don't know what the issue is. And being Moroccan, it may be they washed it with lye, and LST would really help, because that would bring the pH down. But it could be something else. Could be oxidation, could be stripping. And then the other thing, wool rug revitalizer we're just talking about, that has to do with the lipids. And so if a rug is dried out, which is usually old age, but it could be from high alkalinity, it could be from over chemical stripping. And then if it's lost its lipids, then the wool rug revitalizer will fix it. But that usually comes with age. It's just like people. The older you get, the drier your skin gets, the thinner your hair gets. Wool ages and needs to be.
Paul needs a lot of lotion.
Yeah, I need a lot of lotion. So, what I'm trying to do is, instead of just throwing try this, try that, we really kind of got to figure out what the real problem is. Is it redox reactions? Is it pH? Is it lipid deficiency? And if we knew those things, then we know right what to do. And it might be a combination of two of those or three of them.
Okay, well,
was great.
as you can see,
I-
we've
Hey,
got a little bit of
I remember that conversation,
yeah.
and wow, that was a
that,
blast from the past right there.
that's something that well, in the background of the whole, I was the back end of the show basically, and it was my job to collect recordings and all of that. And through, even before it was my job, I did it on PCN days way back when. So the thing is that I have probably 20 years worth of Paul teaching on video, and I am going through, and I've went through about 2.5 years of it so far. And I'm categorizing what he was talking about and things like that, so that when we have a Moroccan rug and we're talking about what to do with it, well, these are a couple of tests: pH and ORP. We want to know what's going on with that rug, what's been done. That is just super, super important, because bringing it back into balance in those two ways is going to do nothing but improve the look, feel, and health of that rug. And so, and the other thing on those pictures that we had a little bit ago, the colors seem to be where they needed to be, and I didn't see any color run at all. Did you, in those pictures?
No, they look good.
That leads us into a discussion about, well, Moroccan rugs are kind of famous for bleeding. Okay, so now let's say this thing's been done, but it's never been washed. So you need to do a crocking test: wet, crocking, dry crocking, and it's really best to do a 24-hour bleed test on one of these to make sure that you know whether these are going to bleed or not.
No.
Then after that, you can get with the customer and tell them, well, your dyes are unstable, so it's going to be risky to wash this rug unless we spend another $180, whatever, to try to set the dyes of this rug. Now, not every time that you use dye fix, not every time that you use it is going to work, because it casts a wide net, and there's a lot of mordants in there from current day, from back in the days and stuff like that. So you're casting a wide net, but that does not necessarily mean that you're gonna set those dyes. You know what I mean? And you're not gonna set crocking dyes, because they don't have anywhere to go. They're homeless dyes. So you've just got to be careful. And so it warrants a phone call to the customer and say, your rug failed our bleed test, and it is going to be a problem when we clean it. We're going to offer to set the dyes for you at $180 or whatever it is. And then what we do as professionals usually is we're going to use a poultice on the back end of it, just to be sure, because we don't want to get paid to set the dyes and then the dyes run. You know what I mean? So we want to protect ourselves in a couple of different ways to make sure that we are not taking on a problem. So I have and that we only do this when the cartoon of the rug looks correct. If it doesn't look right and we have migration of dyes, then we need to go into color correction. We need to go into possible stripping, which again, you're going to want an ORP meter to do. You're going to want Q-tips and you're going to want patience. But you need to find out what is going to take that migrated dye off and leave the dye that is supposed to be there on. And actually, you know what? I have a feeling I have a video about that too. Let me get, okay, so it's going to be up here. There it is right there. Let's watch this. If it'll do it. There we go.
You got to turn your screen on though. We see you.
Oh, the share, yeah. All right. Doggone it. There's always something. All right. There we go.
Well, this is the first day, right?
Screen share.
We're learning.
Okay, so now this is something that Paul had to say about accidental dye, like dye that's been spilled on the rug versus the dye that's supposed to be there. And this is the point of it, is that dye migration is not supposed to be there. It may have gone and gone migrating under circumstances that are not going to allow it to take a good bite of that fiber like it is hopefully in the rug. So this is, this is why that matters.
Well, again, the basic theory is that whoever dyed those fibers for that rug knew what they were doing, and they did a good job under controlled circumstances. Whereas spills of beverages and food and those type of things are put under imperfect conditions. The temperature's not right, the dwell time's not right, the pH isn't right, and so those type of stains should come out quite easy. So a very, very light cleaning with like problem reducing rug shampoo, or a very light application of a reducing agent, and letting it do its thing and then rinse it out or neutralize it. That should do it, because the stains should be easier to get out than what the factory put in. However, having said all that, sometimes the factory doesn't do a good job. So you got to pre-test an area or use your own judgment as to far as, does this look like a normal rug, or does this look like a do-it-yourself or arts and craft rug, and then make those decisions or do a test area. But typically that's why that'll work. Is the food and beverage went in cold, it wasn't as good of a guide job.
There we go. So that's why one of the reasons that we can get out easier the migrating dye than we can the other that is supposed to be there. And so when you put on that stripper, you may be affecting the dye that's supposed to be there, but it's going to stay stronger than the stuff that's migrated out. And so that's why you can go into that stripping thing, and we can help fix this, and there are ways to do it. We teach that, all of that. Now again, if the cartoon looks good, it would be a good idea for us to set the dyes, and there are several things that we can use along the way to help build substantivity, is what it's called, traction between the dye and the dye site makes it want to take a bite of that fiber. And so I do have a video here about that. Let's see, I got to do this thing first. Okay, then into here, and there we go.
Okay, I'll answer that. Dye Fix for wool is going to be your better product. Okay, but it's more expensive. But depending on your client and if you're getting paid or not, and the value of the rug, if the rug's a $30,000 rug, I can go think about it differently than a $300 rug. Now, what Sure Color Stabilizer is those are mordants, and those are several mordants. The number one product in Sure Color Stabilizer is the most common mordant in modern time. And in fact, most carpet mills that make nylon carpet will use that ingredient, very common in wool also. But then I have other mordants, some of the more ancient ones, because the modern ones work on modern dyes, but they don't work so good on some of the natural dyes. So we have other mordants that cover those natural dyes. So Sure Color Stabilizer is kind of a lower cost, although it's expensive, but you don't use that much. I mean, you use a very little amount per gallon of water, whereas the dye fix for wool, dye fix for cotton, you use, it's basically 1 part to 3. So you use a lot. So the Sure Color Stabilizer, I'm making that from scratch. And the amount that you need is just super concentrated. Now, it doesn't have the polymers in it, but if you need more, that does it. And it does a very good job. And so I think we sell quite a bit more of the Sure Color Stabilizer than we do of the dye fix for wool. And again, it's really mordants for wool. And really, I should say mordants for acid dyes. And so these are the bridges that will join the acid dye to a fiber with a dye site. And, they're covalent, they're permanent, and your ability, in fact, I have some rug cleaning plants where they just put it in their water and they use it on almost every rug. They use it in their wash solution. Now, you got to realize some rug cleaning plants in parts of the country have very alkaline water, and they have a lot of problems with bleeding. So what we do is we use that Sure Color Stabilizer to bring the pH of their water down and set the color at the same time. So it's a good product. It's just lower cost to use. There's no polymer in it, so you got to have a lot of agitation and a little more time. It doesn't work quite as fast. It needs a little more time, a little more agitation for it to work.
That's interesting.
Right.
So I use Sure Color Stabilizer at times now, and I'll put that into the mix of whatever I'm going to use it with to help, keep the dyes right where they need to be. But he was saying you want to keep it on just a little bit longer and also make sure you agitate it in, I guess. So you're basically driving the mordants into the actual pile of the rug.
Right.
Some rugs are thin and some rugs are thicker, right? So
and there's one like the dye fix that has polymers in it, and the polymers are going to help find and go. So they're going to help the process where a little less agitation is needed, where more is when you're using the Sure Color Stabilizer. Maybe a few minutes dwell time as well is not a bad idea.
So is the polymer actually driving the thing in deeper? Is that what it's just doing?
That's about where my knowledge ends, actually. I know I've heard him say that the polymer is going to help it to be able to bond. I know that, but I don't know whether it helps it get there or it just builds the attraction. That I'm not quite sure of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, that video was a good video though, because there are times where you got a piece and it's going to just bleed like crazy.
Yeah.
And I know Paul had already put Navajo Rug Shampoo. He put a bunch of mordants, which most likely is like LST with a little, with a little bit of Sure Color stabilizer, because that's basically kind of what it is. But it's at that ratio. But I even add just a little bit more,
Yeah.
just to safeguard myself, and yeah, it costs a little bit, but I mean, when you think about it, I mean, how much time do you save, and how much less worry do you have when you've done it right, and you use products that really kind of help hold everything on there, kind of just set everything on there. Because how many times has somebody washed a rug and then turned around and had a problem? Now you're having to dye strip it, you're spending extra money, you're having to jack with it, you're having to worry about it. I mean, you're going through heck with it when you're trying to earn money on it, and time is your biggest thing. You're measuring your time, you're measuring your the cost, making sure that you're profitable on on all these little different things. And I guess if you really kind of break down the Sure Color stabilizer, I mean, how much money does it cost, and how much money per scoop? If you got really kind of crazy with it, you realize. But those little things, like the Sure Color stabilizer, really, really help. Help you. Period. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've got the chemistry down and you've got the correct products, you can do things that other cleaners can't do because they don't that nobody teaches them about these products like we do about ChemMax products. That's
Yeah.
just what we've used for years, and yeah, I think I probably washed my first rug like real wash with LSD, because it started to, started to become doing less truck mounts and more actual cleaning stuff like that.
Man,
Um,
I remember back in the
so
day, I remember back in the day when it was like 2009 and we were doing the Pro Cleaners Network, and it was just like you, it was me, and it was Tony Belmont down in Naples, and you got Scott Kenfield, and we're sitting here talking. I remember Tony always saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to just put a Sure Color stabilizer on there." And I was like, "What is that stuff?" And then Paul came into the mix of all this and really started to educate us. And yeah, that was pretty positive thing to actually have knowledge like that, because you're going to run into situations, and then as you start to wash rugs, you start to realize the rugs that are really going to give you problems, like a rug that's brand new, deep blues, deep blacks, deep reds, and a lot of those rugs have that fugitive dye that's just sitting on there, and you want to do everything you can do to help keep everything there, and actually not let it bond onto other surfaces as well, and let it roll off, and you have a positive experience instead of a negative experience. Because there's a lot of times when people get involved with rug washing, and they don't really follow all the rules of what you probably should do. They skip the step of a sure color stabilizer, and what happens? It bites them.
yeah,
And that's oh man, I tell you what, that was a there's been a lot of frustrating moments. I mean, they say you always learn from all your mistakes. Well, I learned a lot, but
yeah,
when I learned of Sure Color stabilizer, and when I saw Tony was like, "Hey, yeah, you know what? Now, I mean, I'm just adding this as an extra precaution as well." All of this kind of just made sense. And then once you start working with it, you start actually physically seeing what's going on and saw the value of actually having something like this on your shelf.
yeah. Because I mean, there are some scary rugs that come through our shops, and everybody, I mean, and you're like, wow, and another good thing to do is to, if you can, interview the client. Is this the rug's first cleaning? Have you had it professionally cleaned before? Is there a product in your house that you use to get spills up off of this? We want to know that kind of thing, and we want to educate them, get them better spotters, which is on wool is going to be an LST 5 ounces per gallon of water. That's going to be the perfect thing for them to spray on and wipe and leave. If they get something on it, and that's the really good stuff. Now, cotton, we a lot of times, now this guy that we had the Moroccan rug from, he had the Haitian cotton shampoo from ChemSpec,
Yeah.
which does have a reducing agent in it. And it does, it's not the world's worst product, not at all. What we have at ChemMax is just regular fringe cleaner. Now, what that is is it does have some reduction in it. It also has solvency. It has sublime in it as well. You can't really smell it in there, but it's there. And it is the pre-treat, I think, is where the sublime is, not the but that's really, really good stuff. And you've got to remember that when you're dealing with wool, it likes acid. When you're dealing with cotton, it rather likes alkalinity,
Yep.
And so when the cotton is sticking out a foot away from the wool, well, then you can use cotton cleaner on that and not have any worry about, and not only that, if you think, oh, it might go into the wool, then you wet out that wool with like Florisolve or something, you know what I mean? Even water, but Florisolve is better. That way you've got this barrier to where it's not going to cross up and affect the wool because the vessel's already full, right? So it's not going to carry anything. It's going to stand there on guard and not let a water-based solution like French cleaner come in and do anything. So that's good. So there I have a video on cotton rug shampoo as well. See if I can find it. For some reason, I can't cotton rug. Okay, maybe it's over here. We sorry, I had this. I thought I had this. There we go. Cotton. Let's see. That is cellulosic. Oh, and that all deals with jute though, so I don't know if I have a cotton one. I thought I did.
Mm.
Huh. Was it in cotton? No, that's upholstery. So yeah, sorry, I've got, but there, as you can see, I've got a lot of videos in
Yeah, yeah,
different
just sift through.
uh, ways there or whatever, so that's good. Um, but yeah, for some reason I can't find the one that I was looking for. Um, and you were talking about in your shop, you would be, I think in my shop, what I do is I usually wash the rug, I do the fringe, I do the detail. If it doesn't, if the fringe comes out looking at all bad, I hang it over a table and I detail it. And the
Yeah.
first step, usually in that, unless there's a real lot of oily soil, the first step is for me to rinse that with water. So I
Yep.
rinse, and let the water flow. And then I dry it with an upholstery tool or some kind of suction to make sure, whatever is appropriate. And then I put the fringe cleaner on it. I pull it back up to where it's on a flat surface. I put towels underneath it. I
Yep.
put a lot of fringe cleaner on it and I massage that in, and then I cover it with towels, and then we start tamping with that white rubber mallet. You know what I mean? Something even the back of a brush will do. A brush will actually do if you've got a flat brush, whatever, a tamping brush. There's a lot of things that would work, but what that does is drives it in to where the soil is, right, Brian?
Yep. Yep. We have an actual it's like a rubber mallet. That's just it's all plastic. It's all orange. We
Yeah.
keep it hanging up there on the wall, and we just pull it off. And then yes, you can go over there and lay a towel down. You can lay towels underneath if you need, but we'll just lay a towel over the top after we actually apply it to the fringe, and then give it that tamping. And that tamping, you're right. That tamping does two things. First, it drives it in. Second, it also helps loosen up everything. It helps just basically squeeze it out. It's kind of like using the weighted roller on the actual rug itself. You got weight on there, and now you're squeezing the knots. You're pulling. You're giving it some agitation to actually remove that. And we have really incredible results with fringe. And people ask all the time, "Man, did you use hydrogen peroxide, or how did you get that out of there?" Now, honestly, what it comes down to heat, chemistry, and time
Right.
and and the agitation, right? It just depends.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, this is the same way whenever you're just doing a regular fringe. You're making sure you got really good heat. You got good chemical to the cotton, and you make sure you have good tamping. We always tamp all of the fringes, tamp it, and then you go ahead and you clean it. Uh, whether you're cleaning that with an upholstery tool or you're cleaning that with a power washer, whatever you may be cleaning it with, you get amazing results, and you don't have to use the hydrogen peroxide. A lot of times, whenever you use the hydrogen peroxide, all you're doing is it's still dirty, and you put the hydrogen peroxide on there to help basically just brighten that up. And I'm telling you, you're going to get phone calls, and they're going to tell you, because I get people who call us and say, "Hey, Brian, we had our rug cleaned by X, Y, and Z, or we just had our rug cleaned, in the past. And for some crazy reason, the fringe is deteriorating, and we don't know why." Well, that's the reason why. There are safer ways of doing things. And that honestly is one of the best ways of doing it, especially when you have a Moroccan fringe, because man, it's just so thick. I mean, we had some that last week. I mean, it was like a naval rope to hold
Yeah.
to hold the darn ships, to the yard. I mean, it was huge, and there's just so much in there, and you're taking that and you're really making sure it's getting wet, really soaking it down, really kind of giving it agitation, but you're trying to do it on both sides, and you're trying to make sure that it's also structurally sound and good. Like I said, sometimes the braids will come off. It's not a big deal to braid it. I mean, sometimes for me it is because I'm not a braider, but I have
Yeah.
I have guys in there that have girls in their home and they braided, and they're
Yeah.
really good at braiding. The detail side of that. But you know, it's just about taking care of it right, is what it is.
Yeah, you're better off not doing damage in the first place. And that
Yeah.
is, you don't want to brush these out. He was talking about using a toothbrush. And, you know, my post on there was, please, please don't brush the fringes. Okay. Don't do
Yep.
that. You're going to fray them out. You're going to have to get, it's more work than what it's used. So get good chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
some dwell time, and awesome procedure. And
Yep.
that's exactly what we've been talking about. Good chemistry being fringe cleaner from ChemMax, the dwell time, the flushing it out beforehand. Then you've got a little bit of reduction action, and then you use that procedure of empty vessel, full vessel. You know what I mean? You're filling the vessel with cleaner, then you're emptying it out. And the cleaner's job, on a molecular level, the cleaner's job is to take that soil that it's connected itself to and come away with water, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, you're doing what you're helping the surfactant do what it's supposed to do, which is carry soil, and you empty that vessel and you put more water into it and empty it more, and you get that rinsing, while you're rinsing and stuff, you're getting a lot of soil out of there, man. Even those braided fringe like that, it just does it, just real good job.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see if I can share some pictures here again. It may take me a second. Join. uh There we go. And I
Recording in
thinking host. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, so that should be so. I'm gonna share some pictures here of the next rug that I want to talk about. Okay, so this is an ultra long rug and fairly, it's 13 feet by 7 feet. He mismarked it, but that's 13 by 7 is what that is. So it's odd, it's longer, much longer, and double was double, and but she likes this rug, and it's the back of it is terrible actually. If you look at the back here, it is tufted rug, but there's no backing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So that glue is brittle back there, and I keep telling her the next time I have this rug, we need to glue the cushion to it. You know what I mean? We need to finish the job here, make sure that we give it some structure. So that's what I'm trying to do there. But the pet new dog got a hold of part of the fringe there. And so what we did is we did a whip stitch repair across there, securement, so that the wool isn't going to start unraveling from that point. And we did that on there was a little spot there and almost the whole end of it there. And then on the other side it was just a little spot over here and the end of it there. So and we put it back just the other day. So that um that I want to stress about your pre-inspection pictures. You know what I mean? This was before we did the repairs. This was before we did anything. I think this was even before we got it dusted. You know, all we did is inspect it to make sure it's not moth ridden. You know, and
Yeah.
that's the one thing that we did there. But otherwise, the importance of pre-inspection pictures and the pre-inspection process cannot be overstated. It is where you make money. It is also where you keep from losing money. And Brian, I know you're a stickler about it.
Oh yeah, man, you want to make sure that you're accounting all your time and your chemicals and everything you're doing, because if you ever want to have a different location, also, you want to make sure you have a really good system that everybody's using, and you're not losing out money. I mean, there's times where you need to do things, but you got to document the whole entire thing as you're going through the process. You know, so the pre-inspection pictures are extremely important, especially if you get to be a little bit of bigger operation, like where we have actually people who actually inspect the rugs, and they're going to inspect it, and then the people who are going to wash the rugs, that team, they're going to run through that inspection form and check. Hey, what do we have? Rips, tears? Do we have brittle areas? What do we all have? What are we going to need? And that communication between teams, and even if it's just you, because what happens if you were inspecting the rug and then 2 days later you end up coming back to the rug area and wash the rug? You want to make sure that you give a good inspection, and then before you start washing the rug, look back at your notes, take a look at things, because I've seen them many times where you actually lay it into the actual wash pit. There could be like a little dime-sized hole, right? And then all of a sudden you run a Cymex, or you run the CRB or anything over there. Now all of a sudden a dime-sized hole is like a quarter-size hole. You want to make sure you look at your notes, and you want to make sure you document everything. And as you're washing the rug, you're also documenting what you used, and how much you used, because you want to go back and also make sure that, okay, hey, listen, if that rug right there costs maybe, like, say, $200 to actually wash, I mean, how much money do we actually earn? How much time do we actually spend on this thing? How much chemical do we actually use? And you got to document all that and make sure that everything is in there to make sure that you're actually staying profitable, because there's a lot of times where people can actually get unprofitable by using things. But here's the thing is, if you're using products that's not really getting you to that next level. I mean, like I've seen a lot of people who actually use products and the rug still kind of looks dull. It looks dingy. Sometimes that is because things are waking back up. Also, it's because the chemistry just isn't really right, right? I mean, if you're using products, think about a hair salon. You go to a hair salon, of course, all of us don't go to the hair salon, even though I probably should or whatever, as I'm getting older, notice my hair's different, right? So you want to use things that are positive for your hair, and that's the reason why they have shampoo that costs $50 a gallon, $50 for a little pint or whatever it might be, right? And then you go to Walmart and you say, oh man, look at this, I can use Pert Plus. I got all this stuff, right? The thing is, you don't get the same results. So you want to make sure you're using positive products that's actually, getting you down the road. It's actually making people say, hey man, look at that. Man, that rug looks like it's new. Also, on top of that, when the rug comes back for the service again, I mean, it cleans up so much better. You're not having to dig through all this jazz, but you want to make sure you have all your numbers correct on everything. And the next time it comes in, also, if you're documenting the rugs, and now you say, okay, hey, this rug right here, we use this on that rug. We have backup notes to be able to see. And what happens if it was a team that was, from the past, maybe a guy's not there, maybe a guy's sick, maybe he doesn't even work there anymore, right? You have all these notes with that rug. You know what's going on. So there's a lot of documentation that you should probably have like on rugs. And I know a lot of guys probably don't do that. They're not thinking like how I am, where they're gathering all this info. They're just washing the rug, and all of a sudden, hopefully, maybe, you never know, it comes back, in the future. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember washing this rug, but I don't know what I even did.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it establishes you as the expert in the room when it comes to that topic. When you communicate these things to your client, it failed this test. When we tested it for this, this happened. That tells the client, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He's not just jumping in and doing stuff to my rug. He's doing tests. He's making sure, and that is just amazing. And the next slides I want to put in are going to be let's see. Oh, I got to do that. No. Oh, I got to do it the other way here. Let's see. Oh, jeez. And I can't do that somehow. Let's see. Can I do this? Oh, I need to try to. Oh, what I have to do is end or leave the meeting. That's what I have to do. Give me just a second. I'm not sure I know how to do that. Dang. Okay, so let me see if I can do the. Sorry, guys. This is, of course, one of the some things that I haven't done yet. I've had these videos forever. I'm going through them and all of that right now. And I want to show kind of what I have. I'm already booked to do a class with these videos to be able to help people and understand the products. And nobody can replace Paul Lucas. So what we have is we have somebody here in me that has his words down on video about products, about situations, about a lot of things. And that's something that I'm willing to share with you. We just do a private class, and I come to your facility, and the videos come with me, and we teach and we learn. So, but it's I haven't gotten it all down yet. Let's see. Where's the recording? Portrait lighting touch up. Okay, that's not it. Audio captions. Huh. Boy, for some reason, I cannot figure that out. Because if I end, wait a minute. If I end that, hide none video, that still isn't gonna work. Dang. Well, anyway, when you're attempting redox, you want to be really, really careful, and that's where what I'm going to share here now is a rug that I did a long time ago for a client of mine, and she loves this rug, and it really is her in a rug. Like she's a very flamboyant lady, and she's just awesome. I love her, but this piece is just, yeah, it's outstanding. It really is. It has like this mustard yellow, deep purples. The borders are cool. It's like a hunting scene type of or more of it just an animal scene. There's not a lot of hunting going on there. But
Right?
yeah, it really is. So that was while it was in my shop before. Um, this is what happened to it is the dog had fecal matter accident on it. And
Yep.
so we've got, nice bright ivory white colors that have material on them that needs to come off. And so as cleaners, we start wondering what are we going to use? Well, if we're talking about body fluids, typically we're going to be talking about oxidation because that usually works better other than emesis. hairball spots and stuff. But for urine, for fecal matter, urine peroxide is usually the way you want to go, and you just want to start off nice and slow and low, and you want to start off testing with a Q-tip, right? So we don't just go full bore and put peroxide all over this thing. But you can see that, it really did do some serious discoloration here, you know what I mean? And or coloration rather. And but we got this thing back to 100%. And it was because we slowly, I mean, this thing was in my care probably for 6 weeks. But I told her, I said, we've got to test and retest, and then we apply, then we, all of this, this is a procedure, but I'm going to bring you back a rug that's going to, you won't know this ever happened. And so that's what, yeah, and see, it's just, there was just an awful lot of it spread throughout the whole rug. So that was one of those that where the testing was just what needed to happen. Let me see if maybe I can. Nope, that didn't work either. I'm trying to leave the meeting on this one. Let's see, was that? No. I'm trying to leave the meeting on one device so I can show videos on another, and it's just not. Oh, wait a minute. That might work.
That worked.
Oh, excellent. Okay, very good. So, when we're talking about redox, there, we want to we want to be talking about testing. You know what I mean? Because you can't just go and start in. And so let's see. Let me see. Is it redox test? Should be right here. Yeah. Let's watch this.
Well, not to be controversial here with Dan, but polyester is very extremely difficult to dye, and so usually polyester is either pigmented, which you're not going to be able to remove the color from, or they use what is called a dispersed dye. So polyester itself, being that that's what this rug is a pretty much a color resistant, bleaching resistant strip.
This isn't the right video that I was looking for here. Let me see if I can find it. I know I was just.
Hey, when you hop on there, can you share your screen on there?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, can you hop when you hop on there? Can you share your screen?
Oh goodness, yeah. I gotta find out what in the world. My audio is like outrageously weird, and I can't figure out why. How weird is that? I can't figure out, like, I can't hear you very well. I hope that doesn't come out. And that's not it either. Wow, I am strikingly not prepared for, and I thought I was. I spent the last 2 hours putting these videos, and I'm like, they'll be right here. I know exactly where they are.
You know what?
And
first time you color a page, man, sometimes you don't do it always right?
yeah, it's crazy.
fine.
And I thought, I mean, like I said, I thought I had it. Well, let's see. Let me make sure, because this is really where I had. Okay, here we go. This is the video that I wanted to show about the redox testing on that rug that I just showed.
Well, I'm a
Can you share your
chicken,
screen?
and I'm more of a nerd, so I would test first because I want to know what's really going on. I want to know what the facts are before I jump in. And so I would like to do a little test just to see, is oxidation go remove it? Is reduction go remove it? Am I go get it all out? Is it going to be hard to do? Am I going to have to use a stronger formula? Do I have to switch to a more aggressive chemistry that I don't want to do? I want to know all that up front. And again, with this one, I don't think it's going to be. It might take some time, but I don't think it'll be difficult. And then when I'm actually doing the work, I might do that right when I'm washing it. But I want to test ahead of time to know, what do I know for a fact is going to work? I want to test, not guess.
All right, I'll start that all over. I wasn't even sure in the video what. Well, I'll tell you. There we go. Now how can I start that over again? Let's see. There we go, and there we go.
Well, I'm a chicken, and I'm more of a nerd, so I would test first because I want to know what's really going on. I want to know what the facts are before I jump in. And so I would like to do a little test just to see, is oxidation go remove it? Is reduction go remove it? Am I go get it all out? Is it going to be hard to do? Am I going to have to use a stronger formula? Do I have to switch to a more aggressive chemistry that I don't want to do? I want to know all that up front. And again, with this one, I don't think it's going to be, it might take some time, but I don't think it'll be difficult. And then when I'm actually doing the work, I might do that right when I'm washing it. But I want to test ahead of time to know, what do I know for a fact is going to work? I want to test, not guess.
Okay, so there we go with that. Let's see, I'll put this down here, this here. Okay, so right from Paul Luke's mouth, test it. And I've done testing in classes for Paul, and you mix up a 1% solution and you put that on 2% solution, put that on 3% solution, put that on. Well, usually by the time you're done with your 3%, your 1%'s ready to check. And then it keeps going in a domino there, and you keep going in class, Paul and I have used 15 tablespoons per gallon, you know what I mean? Or 15 ounces per gallon, which is like what? That's like 15%. But it takes what it takes, you know what I mean? And testing is the only way that you're ever gonna really know about if what you're going to attempt is going to work and what you have on your shelf that is going to work. And we're talking about the size of Q-tips here. And Brian, I know you do that kind of thing all the time. We don't want to leave halos. We don't, we want removal, complete removal if possible, or as close as possible, but without any secondary damage.
Yeah, you want to start off mild and work your way up. And a lot of times, I may actually just increase my heat just a little bit, or then I might just increase my chemistry, kind of stagger step up the whole entire ladder until you get there. Because if you go too much, now you're having to go back and go re-dye. Now you're even spending more time, more money, more frustration. It's just ridiculous, really. Test it out. And yes, use the Q-tips and start seeing where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. Let's see. So we've got we talked about that rug, and that was oxidation, what happened, and I got every bit of it out without going to a full 3% solution. So it was one of those that was easy. Once I tested and understood what needed to happen, it was easy. So I have one more here that I want to share. And let's see, here it is about it's going to be a few minutes long, but this is about testing and or the process itself.
Yeah. And the fringe, if you look at the fringe at the top, there's quite some heavy soil there up at that top part. So
You just hit mute, Rob. We can't hear it. Rob, you there? Hey, Rob. If you're there, you hit mute. We can't hear the video.
It wasn't working.
No, you you hit mute. Everything was working good, but then you hit mute and then we couldn't hear the video.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me see if I can fix that.
Okay.
Let's see. I can share. Come on again. Share screen. Then down here, and it was this one.
Yeah. And the fringe, if you look at
There
the
we
fringe at the top,
Yeah.
there's quite some heavy soil there up at that top part. So there's that, there's going to be a problem with that fringe. And then my big question was he brought up bleeder. And I can't see any pre-existing bleeding. Do you see any pre-existing bleeding?
I did not.
I did not either. And so my question to him is, did you do a fiber ID test? Because he's saying it's wool, but he's saying it's wool because the customer told him it was wool. I don't trust customers. I don't even trust the labels. So did he do a burn test? And then I also believe that it's wool on cotton, and he said it's 100% wool. And so that, I'm going like, well, that's not really what it is. So now we're starting to base decisions based on false information. So, and I'm not saying that's a big deal. A lot of people, when they say it's a wool rug, they're just talking about the pile. But I'm just saying, am I working myself into a corner here where I'm saying, okay, it's a 100% wool rug, and then later when those fringes won't come clean, then it's like, well, well, those are cotton fringes. Well, no, they're not. Blah, blah. I'm just saying it's not reality. And I don't want to live in a world of fantasy. I want to be real. Okay. And so then my other question to him was, okay, did you test it? And then the other question is, why are we concerned about bleeding? Why are you bringing that up? What's the fear? Now, is it the customer asking? Is it the cleaner asking? And oh, by the way, I love this rug of all the green, because green is such an unusual color in a Persian type rug, because it's considered to be a holy color. So I'm kind of intrigued by that green a little bit. But anyways, I'm starting to think of, why are we worried about these things? And I get it. If he said, well, look at the ivory field and all that color in it, then I said, well, yeah, okay, I get that. But why are you saying bleeder? Did you test it? So is it a bleeder? Is it a crocker? Did you test it? Is it really wool? Is it really 100% wool? And then, having said all those things, then I start to wonder. And again, I'm not trying to offend anybody here. I just, we're all in this together. I'm trying to be helpful. I want to help. I don't want to be negative. I'm not trying to put anybody down. So don't take it wrong. But my question is, what are the skills of this cleaner? Because I'm starting to wonder, do they really know what they're doing? And I don't mean that to be negative. Okay. I'm just questioning that. And I mean, maybe this guy knows more than I do, and he's just seeing if I know anything. Okay. So that could easily be it. And then the other thing is, what are his capabilities? I mean, are we cleaning this with a truck mount? Are we cleaning this with a bonnet pad? Are we cleaning this with a Moore system? Are we power washing it? Are we cleaning it outdoors? Are we using soft water? Are we using hard water? Are we hand cleaning it? Are we dry cleaning it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know this person. So all of those things I start to think of why are these questions being asked too? Because I look at this, other than those fringes being pretty trashed, which I think we can get clean, but it's going to be some extra work on the fringe. I'm thinking this is a no problem rug to clean. So now I'm nervous. It's like when a property owner says to me, okay, can you wash my rug? Blah, 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 blah. How much insurance do you have? Well, then that question is like, well, wait a minute. Why did you ask that? Are you already planning to sue me? I mean, why is that a question? So I want to hear. And they might say, well, one time this happened or that happened, or somebody told me to ask that, and I just want to know. So when they say, how do I clean it? I go, well, how do you clean the one you did yesterday? And how did you clean the one before that? So, I have a lot of questions because I'm not getting good vibes because of the question of bleeding. So I'm thinking it hasn't been tested. And if it has, what were the results? Why didn't we hear, the blue's bleeding, the black's bleeding, it's crocking? I didn't get any information. So then I'm going, okay, lots of lack of information. So again, none of this is meant to put anybody down. Okay, this is meant to, how do we do this rug? But I'm just looking at this rug as an easy to clean. So what I said, because I don't want to not answer people's questions. What I said was inspect and document, dust. Now, again, I don't know what their capabilities. So I don't know if they have a tumble duster, they'll go dust with a vacuum, they'll go beat it over a clothing line with a rug whip. I don't know what they're going to do, but it needs to be dusted. And then I would go first in with anti-dye because they're concerned about bleeding. And I don't know why, but I would first in with anti-dye in case it's a bleeder. I'd wash it with LST because, again, that's going to be best thing for color, best thing for wool. And then I would be prepared to rinse it with more anti-dye, lots of water, high volume of water, because, again, I'm afraid of it being a bleeder. I don't know why I'm afraid of it being a bleeder, but somebody asked, well, now I'm afraid. Okay, and it's got green in it, which is kind of a cool color. Okay, so I'm afraid of that. So, rinse with, first in with anti-dye, rinse with anti-dye if it's known to be, and then I suggested drying it with a poultice. Now, normally people don't do that, but I said to put a couple layers of cotton down, cotton towels, at least 2 layers or more, rug face down, at least 2 more layers of a cotton poultice on the back. Make sure there's no air pockets, make sure there's physical contact, and then make the top, which is where the back of the rug is facing, make the top your evaporation point. So lots of airflow, maybe downdraft blowers, or if you have sideway blowers with maybe a grid to hold the towels from not blowing off. Make the back the evaporation point. So if it does bleed, and I don't know why I'm afraid of that, but I'm afraid of it now because somebody brought it up. Okay, and then if it bleeds, it's going to bleed towards the back, which nobody will see. And then even if it does, then there will be bleeding on the poultice towels, not on the rug. And so that's what I recommended. Now, would I normally do that kind of drying? Probably not. But because that was brought up, now I'm afraid of it. But I would rather test, and then I would know whether I need to be afraid or not. And if it did test to be a bleeder, then I would probably go back to customer and say, ma'am, your wool pile rug bled color in the green or in the black. And what should have been done when this rug was woven is the weaver should have had the color set, or the person that dyed the wool should have set the color. And so what I would recommend is we do that now because it was a manufacturing defect because it wasn't done. Sometimes that's the culture, I'm sorry. But let's go ahead and do it. And then let's set those colors for you. That's going to be an additional charge of X amount of dollars. And then we can set the color. And then if they say, no, I don't want to pay that extra $100 or whatever you told them, then you write on the invoice, bled, black bled, green bled, recommended setting colors with a mordant, customer refused, clean at customer's risk. No guarantee against color migration. Write that right on the invoice and say it's your gamble. I'm not responsible because you wouldn't buy what needed to be purchased. It's at your risk. Now I would still try to fix it if it bled. You know, I wouldn't like try to ruin the rug. I still try to fix it. But you know, because it's brought up, maybe it's the customer bringing it up. I want to put the responsibility back on the customer. It's not my fault it bleeds. I offered a solution.
And yeah, and when you get with urine can cause normally stable dyes to become unstable too. So there's a lot of considerations when it comes to that. Just
Sorry about
again,
that. That's good
test,
stuff in a
test.
second. Oh, here we
Make
go.
sure that you know what to.
Sorry. So, as you can see, I've got an awful lot from Paul that is just going to be super helpful for people, and that's what I want to make it available for. So, I will be having if anyone wants to talk about me coming to your shop, sharing these with you, all of that, that's the way it's going to have to be done. I'm not going to be able to electronically share them, but this is the way we got to do it. So that's the way we'll do it. But I'll be doing that. And I don't know, Brian, you got anything to close?
Well, I just I will say the videos are awesome. I mean, right now, this is the first day, right? So we're in the 1800s. We're on a covered wagon, and we're going down the trail. And sometimes the wagon gets a little stuck because of rocks, right? But
Right.
for too long, all the process, the videos, everything else was smoothed out. We'll be like a Ferrari on the autobahn, right? So we'll have this thing going great, and it's great to get input from Paul, because Paul, he was the best of the best.
Yeah, unmatchable.
Yeah, I mean, I really do believe that.
Yeah.
He had a knowledge that just was incredible, and you know, there's a lot of us that were trained by just I mean, the master. He's Master Yoda, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he is the quintessential of it all. I mean,
Yeah.
incredible person. So I'm just honored to be able to even be here and actually sit back and actually, you know, listen and watch and remember some of the things that he said. Because sometimes, you know, you do forget some of the things, you know.
You know, I've learned a long time ago taking many classes I have and stuff. I take good notes, and sometimes I record the sessions, because you never get everything right off the bat. You're thinking about this, you know, and the guy over here, his nose is whistling, you know, whatever, and you're distracted sometimes. So it's, you know, it's always good to have that record and then that reference to go back to. And so that's what, you know, that's what I'm able to provide now. And I've only went through, I mean, I recorded Paul for 20 years. So I've only went through about 2.5 years worth, but I'm categorizing them into what was Paul talking about, what is relevant in this situation, all of that kind of thing. And we have, you know, talking about felted wool on there. We have pelts that I got him talking about and recorded and stuff. So there's just a really wide array of things that can help. And I'm going to be the custodian of that knowledge and be able to help people with it. That's the whole idea.
That's awesome. I
Absolutely.
mean, you can definitely tell that was an older video too, because he was talking about anti-dye versus dye release.
Right.
Anti-dye was something that we were using, and you can use it, you know, and it does a good job. To me, I think that the dye release is just a much better product. Everything just works so much smoother. It's something you have to have. It's kind of like having you know, shoelaces on your shoe.
Yeah, or a fire extinguisher in a shop where you use flammable materials. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's an unbelievable product. Chemex has just a wide range of incredible things, and the things I love. The thing I love about them is that, like, Paul would sit back and like listen to everything we're talking about, and then he would come up with these formulas to really help us out. Right?
Yeah.
There's just so much knowledge back behind what he was doing, and you know, he just made our lives way easier. You know, sometimes we take it for granted, but you know, hey, I'm glad that you have the videos. I'm glad you're able to share them with people. I'm glad we're able to share them on on this platform a little bit to help people to go back and like I was saying, I mean, sometimes there might be something that you may just forgot, maybe just a little inkling of something. But yeah, this is awesome.
Yep, yep, I agree 100%. It's going to be something that I don't want Paul's teaching to stop just because he's gone. And so that's my obsession about this is to make sure that he can still teach and take this on to a new generation of people that want to learn. And ChemX products are available to this day. So it's not, that didn't end with him. His teaching is not going to end with him because of me. And I'm just very excited about the whole thing. So it's going to be a very good thing for a lot of people. And get a hold of me on Facebook or wherever you can find me, and you'll be able to we'll be able to talk about the situation, what we got to do and how we got to do it, and I can get over and share this knowledge with you. So well, it looks like we've got to the end of another one. I guess let's say bye to everybody.
Yeah, everybody have a good week, and we'll be there next week. The past 30 days have been jam packed for me. Uh, I mean, my gosh, I met some incredible people. I was down there with Howard Partridge at his place. Got to see some incredible people on stage talking. I mean, it really kind of reshaped me. And coming
Yeah.
back to this, and actually seeing Dave last week too, or not, I guess it was what you could say last week. Or was it Thursday or Friday? He was come out there, he was talking about the Chemex products and everything is solid, everything is good to go. Man, it's got me really excited for the future. And it's like you're saying, it's a whole nother generation, right? I mean, my son has been washing rugs for the past 2 years. And I mean, all these people are coming, who are either in your family or like just working for you. All Paul's teachings are just carrying on, and it's awesome. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yep, yep. We will get this done next week again. And everybody have a good week and a profitable tomorrow. Even though tomorrow's Sunday, hopefully you can still find a way to squeak a profit out of that. Even if it's just sitting on the couch and chilling, because this week is going to be one of those. I picked up 10 rugs within 2 days the other day. So I mean, it's February is not just February when you're a rug cleaner, man. People are always sending stuff your way. So it's a great way to diversify your business. So learning from Paul from the beginning and using those correct products and that good stuff, that's a huge thing for guys who are wanting to get to be a better rug cleaner or get diversify into rug cleaning out of carpet cleaning, which is where we both came from. It's where Paul came from. Paul came from cleaning carpet with Ed York,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, the granddaddy of it all.
Yep.
you
Yep.
know.
Sure.
So, all right, well, we'll see everybody next week. Have a good one, guys, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye-bye. Let's see. Well, hi, everybody. This is Rob Decker. I am here with Brian Jesperson. As always, Brian, say howdy, everybody.
How's everybody doing in the rug world?
I hope it's been a good week, couple of weeks for everybody. Actually, we did not do a show last week. We are getting it together. We'll just put it that way. We're working on it, making sure that we get a good quality show and a lot of content for you guys. So I want to share first and foremost a some pictures that I got off of Facebook here. So here. Okay, this way. Okay, so we need to clean this area rug. It's Moroccan wool. There are no stains. It's just really dusty, and the fringe needs work. Is 1 squirt of trash green to 1 gallon of water fine to mist on top and rinse at 300 psi with an acid rinse and then speed dry. And to work on the fringes, he'll do by hand with an upholstery tool, use a cotton shampoo and scrub with a toothbrush. Then next day rinse and spray on peroxide, let it dry to whiten. So here's the rug. And there doesn't look like there's a problem with where the dyes are. I don't see any dye migration in any of these pictures that he sent.
Yep.
And so, but Brian, these fibers have been fried, right? Right. I mean, to the point, sometimes where they're barely hanging on when they've done these kind of washes with these.
Yeah. 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 The fibers look really good. The colors look really good. They're all held really nice. So
Yeah, so we want to say that you can tell that the whole thing's been, this isn't traffic, because even onto the right side there you can see that these fibers are fanning out, so they've been pushed to a high level of oxidation or reduction. So we want to have an ORP meter handy to help us understand what's been done to this rug, what's going to bring it back into balance, that kind of thing. So, but these are the fringe as well. And so looking at these pictures, I want to go back and talk about what this guy was talking about. Now, of course, this came to me from truck mount forums, and what if you have a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So if you've got a truck mount, well, I can do my truck mount will do something on this thing, you know what I mean? And so we want to go back to that and just kind of talk about what's going on here. He says it's Moroccan wool, no stains, just really dusty. So he starts talking about it's really dusty. Can I put this product on it? So I say, whoa, let's talk about dusting this rug. What can you do? Do you have a really good vacuum cleaner? Do you have a space where you can put it on a tarp and lay it upside down and go from the back? Like, if this is really dusty, let's dust it, and let's figure out a way to dust those fringe. So we want to stop there as a good as good rug cleaners. I don't want to say anything bad about Michael here. Him and I talked about this, and but dusting is such an important part of the process that you can't just say, well, it's dusty, can I put this on it? You've got to go through that process of getting that dust out. And with that kind of fringe, with those cotton or with those braided fringe like that, wow, those are not easy to dust, are they, Brian?
no, no, but you got to think about like a Moroccan rug. The pile is what, about an inch, could be 2 inches thick in between there, and there's a lot of dirt that's trapped inside there. So when people say they're going to just try to topically clean a rug like that, I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls to that. Number one is the color, because you're not just getting the color that's actually right there on the surface. You have all the colors down into the knots, twisted and tied, and then you you got so much. You have to dust that thing really super good, because the point of evaporation most likely is going to be the top of the rug. I mean, I guess you could put that rug upside down if you were a carpet cleaner. If I was thinking about it like that, maybe you want to try to dry it upside down, maybe because the point of evaporation would be to the back. But I still think that there's a good chance that you're going to have kind of a rusty type haze across the whole rug, because that's dirt. I mean, that's just my thought with this.
Yeah, you've got to flush this thing. If it's dusty, if it's physically looks dusty and feels dusty, we know that wool hides soil very, very well. So once it looks dirty, it's absolutely filthy. And so we need to dust properly, and then we need to rinse this thing, and we just want to move what water will move, because it's not the best cleaning agent there is, but water does a good job. And so, and not only that, I wouldn't, even if the customer told me they never put carpet cleaning, Febreze or what, not Febreze, Resolve and all that stuff. We never use that on our rug. I don't believe you. I'm gonna rinse out, and if I see a bunch of suds, I know that I don't want those suds chemically reacting what I'm gonna do to this rug to try to get this thing clean. So rinsing, even if it's not urine involved, and we're not talking about flushing the toilet, just flushing the rug, I believe, is a very, very good way to start. The only, really the only exception is with viscose. You want to put 2 ounces per gallon of the rayon rug shampoo in it, so that you get the charges correct. You get the positive charge of a cationic. And that's going to help it dry better and not have to groom it every 5 minutes for hours, while it dries. So, and I'm sure you use that trick all the time, Brian. That
Yeah.
just is one of those things you learn when you've been around Paul.
Yeah, it's man, a Moroccan rug being a carpet cleaner and messing with it is kind of like sticking your hand into a fire. I mean, to me, it's one of those rugs that maybe you might not want to mess with, because the the wool. I mean, it's drank up so much of the actual color, and now you have the excess color on the outside, like makeup. And once you start getting that thing wet, I mean, it can migrate like crazy.
Yeah.
So it it makes me think to myself like, man, there's so many other rugs to mess with. Why mess with the Cobra, right? I mean, it's I I get it. Everybody wants to earn some money, and they're trying to figure out the best way. But sometimes, with the tooling that you might have, you may not actually get a great result. Um, Maybe you're basically just surface cleaning, just with the most lightest amount of water as possible, and
Yeah.
all you're doing is just knocking the edge off it. That's all you're doing, right? So it just to me it would scare me to death. I mean, honestly. And then I see on here he says he wants to do something with the fringes, spray a little hydrogen peroxide on the fringes to whiten it. Man, to me there's just so many things that's like not a good idea to do, because those braids on a Moroccan rug always come undone all the time. And we're as careful as all can be. But I mean, you got to take those braids, and you're going to, like, even the wash pit, we lay them down, and then we're going to take a towel and we're take a mallet after we already applied like some LST or whatever on it, and we're going to hamper that. So we're loosening all that up, and then we're going to clean that off. We're going to rinse
Yeah.
it off, power wash or whatever it might be. But you got to be careful, because the braids are probably going to come undone, and then you better know how to braid. Uh, and then, who knows, you might be doing 10 or 15 or 20 of them. It just depends on how rough that you are. And you don't necessarily want to spray hydrogen peroxide on these braids, because you're deteriorating that cotton, and you want that thing to be braided and held really good. The best thing to do is actually just wash it and then lightly power wash it, and then allow that to dry instead of just going the hydrogen peroxide route, because you're just gonna make everything brittle. Yeah, it's gonna look white, but I'm telling you, 6 months from now, especially if they have somebody has a vacuum cleaner and they're going across and they actually grab it, they might just shred that whole entire deal.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is that you need to be able to test with an ORP meter to be able to know, did they push this really far oxidation, which is going to be 800 900 millivolts on your meter, or did they reduce the life out of it and you're going to get 200 150, you know what I mean, on your meter. So and I have a video from a good friend of ours that talks exactly about this, and so I'm gonna see. Oh, it says I've got to. Let's see. Maybe I can. Maybe I can get out of this. But anyway, yeah, on that on this one that's here, it just
Well, it's a super cool rug.